Uh,
Yeah, William, you suck.
well, how are you gentlemen doing today?
Pretty good, bro. Pretty good. Just had a
That's good.
in-depth conversation on the intricacies of late
Socioeconomic
stage
instability.
capitalism.
Yeah.
Not much. Just playing some Minecraft in the background. You know how it is.
Right? You want to see my
But-
circle?
So one thing that I find is I'm really glad there. Okay, let me phrase this. There are a lot of memes all about whatchamacallit, was born too late to explore the ocean, born too early to explore the universe.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to be born right now because I get to explore the internet. And yeah, you laugh it off. You laugh it off.
Laugh it off. Go ahead, bro.
That
No,
was good.
No, that's good.
That
That's
was
good.
great.
We love
But
it.
That was good.
but it's genuinely a very I would consider it a blessing, because obviously I get to connect with people like you guys. Wink. But also, there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't be able to find anywhere else. Like I think I've been able to find a lot of niche content that I wouldn't be able to find anywhere else. Like not at all. You can't get this stuff on TV. You can't get it in the newspaper or on radio. Well, occasionally radio has some nice stuff, but on TV I just am not able to find any of this. Like I'm not able to find Mustard. I don't know if you know him, but he does like really cool analysis and really high quality videos on like Forgotten and Brushed Aside, or occasionally more well known, but at the same time monumental technologies and vehicles and industries that fortunately or unfortunately have been defunct due to obsolescence or certain things that happen in history. And that's something that I can appreciate the internet for. It's the fact that it's just, not only has it brought people together, but it's also just a place where new types of content and artistry can be generated. And that's something that I really do appreciate. And I was wondering your guys' thoughts on that. The artistry of the internet.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I haven't watched many podcasts, but like things
I've
I
actually
do
been.
see, it's like it's great. I act like it's such a burden to be confined to this room in times of like quarantine, especially. But in reality,
I
it's like
was.
really nice sometimes because I just get to look at like whatever I want, and I don't have to like. It's great. I mean, we live in such a time. It's like I can look at whatever I want, whenever I want. So thankful for that, Especially not a lot of people having that opportunity. So it's like, it's great. It's like it's like when you read a good book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you're
What do you
like,
think, Zach?
wow, I feel like I've been transported to something different, like a different place in the world. That's how I feel like a good book.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I don't know if you have anything to say, Zach. If you'd like to join.
Yeah, I was trying to. Like when I was driving back from Colorado,
Mhm.
I listened to two full podcasts with Joe Rogan and Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And it's so cool being that even though these were, taken around the same times as like today, how I'm just hearing about all these other crazy things that are going on, that are aside from being everything political and stuff. And it's like, we're going to be sending people to different parts of space, or these astronomical discoveries and everything. And I'm like, this is like this is just really, really cool. And I'm like, I'm like, it's so nice to be able to just have that instant access to knowledge
Yeah.
from people that know what they're doing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I think back to like our ancestors and stuff like that. Not even 30 years ago, you wouldn't have any people still dreamed about this type of thing. To have an entire supercomputer's worth of knowledge at your fingertips. It might be something we take for granted today. It's still something I find so immensely beautiful sometimes. Like browsing Wikipedia and getting lost in it. I found like although my attention span has decreased, unfortunately, which I kind of hate. I used to be able to crack open and read thick books, just day after day. But I mean, one of my favorite ways to relax is just go on Wikipedia and just browse whatever they got there, and maybe find new tidbits of information here and there. There's many issues on the prevalence and permutation and circulation of information, how it spreads, what type it spreads. I think it's genuinely amazing to be able to have so much access at once. I think it's better than anything we've had since, definitely a revolution in human ideas and thinking, and it has literally created new forms of art. Absolutely, literally created new forms of art. I mean, I think it's just a blessing on this earth to just be able to be in it. While it may not be able to be so visceral as to feel the wind on your face as you cross the seas, you're able to be there and to explore this sea of information and people and to experience things that you probably are never be able to see otherwise. I can't go and find out what the heck a folly is just by looking at it. But I can go on Wikipedia and look at all these different types of weird buildings that people have created just for fun, just for the heck of it. I could see all different types of architecture, whatever types that I would have wanted, and I don't have to go to a library, and I don't have to spend, you know, uh, costs. And there's like hourly costs of my time to go and find it. I think it's just a beautiful thing. Information's nice, and I like having it right there at my fingertips because I'm a short attention span ape who just wants it now. And whether or not it's the best thing, I love it and I enjoy it.
Absolutely. It's a good problem to have. I feel like that's a lot of modern commodities for me. Like, I think, oh my God, it's such a problem to have to sit home and respect, what is it? Like, respect curfews and stuff like that, and sit on my computer and game and watch videos. But then I think, like, wow, what a damn good problem to have, And then I think, like,
Exactly.
oh my God, I am so lucky to be able to do something like this, to relax, because not a lot of people like are able to do these things. And I think, wow, I'm so lucky to have just this instant information undertow at my fingertips, and it's amazing, and you learn something new every day.
What would you say is one of your favorite things on the internet? Maybe like a characteristic or an aspect, or maybe just like I don't know, even be like a website or something.
Hmm.
I can
Yeah,
go
yeah.
if
Go first. I got to think about that one a little bit.
6, 7.
okay. Um, I like the little small communities it creates. As I mentioned before on YouTube, you can find, or just on the internet in general, you can find niche content, but like you could explore all these little tiny little communities,
I was
different
gonna say
people
that
being
too,
connected like that.
actually. I didn't want to interrupt you, but like, honestly, I was
Elaborate.
just thinking about that.
Go for it.
Like, I was just thinking about how, like, maybe I'm part of a community that, like, I love to see on YouTube,
Hmm.
specifically maybe YouTube, or just like the most niche things ever you'll see, especially in terms of like, for me, speedrunning. It just like makes me so happy because I'm like, these people are so involved in this one thing that like a majority of people could care less about. You know, some really super niche game that nobody's ever heard of, and it's like, oh my god, they shaved 1 second off their speed run time, and it's the biggest thing in the world for this community at that one moment in time. And I'm like,
Dude.
that is just awesome.
Yes.
Like, as much as
Back.
people will hate on it for that,
Are we
you're
talking about-
just like niche communities, actually. And I was talking about speedrunning and like obscure games as something that I
and
really,
gatekeeping
really,
and
really enjoy about the internet, especially when it's like,
Mr.
I
Craft
forgot what it
overdoses on
was. Like,
ketamine.
it was this old, I don't know, it was this old game where it was like the person shaved a few seconds. It was like a 112 instead of a 113, and it was just unreal. Like, the video is just him screaming. Like, it is absurd and awesome at the same time. And that is why I'm like, this is awesome. And it's respectable to me in its own right to be this like super niche thing that maybe nobody cares about, except for these people. And in that, they have my respect. I'm recording also, by the way.
I mean, is it so different from? I don't mean to like butt in here and like take over this conversation.
By all means.
Well, I'm not taking over the conversation by any means. Is it really different from any hobby that people enjoy? Like, we play musical instruments.
Well, yeah, we were just talking about something that we really enjoy about the internet and modern commodities.
Oh,
I'll be right back. You guys can talk a little bit more.
See, that's who I am with the back when I was really big on it. I mean, I kind of still get on a little bit,
Geometry
but like
Dash?
with the Geometry Dash community, like I see these videos of like the new #1 hardest level in the game is getting verified right now, and to like go on YouTube and all of a sudden just see this live, like just this absolutely inhuman gameplay, and I'm like, even though it's something that I'm never gonna be able to do ever. Like, it's so cool seeing this and being like, I could do this, because I'm part of this. Like, I play this game very consistently. Like, I would say that I'm a very good player, but like to be able to see this, I'm like, I'm just like, I'm part of this thing, this little community that's like of people that just they spend all this time building these amazing looking levels, and then they spend all this time like trying to beat them. It's like it's fascinating.
I love that. I love the passion you brought to that. I think that's something that I've been able to see a lot more on the internet is passion. I think everyone has been able to. I think it's just brought a whole new breath of passion into the world. What can
the internet
you
as
do?
a whole?
Yeah, like it's a showcase. If everyone did or die out and the internet would be the only thing to exist, it would still be a fantastic catalog of human history. It'd be. I think
it's the
it.
most extensive catalog of human history ever created.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's a little self-evident, but I think one of the best things it does is categorize passion. I think that's one of the most fundamental human things is to be able to show a genuine love for something, whether that's music or art or video games or cooking or anything,
Yeah, like I
I've
guess
seen it.
before the internet, like people weren't able to ever tune in to like watch people or just get like a big load of like their hobbies and like gain different interests so easily, like as YouTube enables you to. Like you watch your favorite YouTubers that do all the things you find interesting all the time, and like gain inspiration to do some of those things yourselves or take up certain things. And before, like, how would you ever get into that kind of stuff? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you have things like book clubs and stuff like that, and you might find a nice person at the library, but there are certain things that are so like intricate that you wouldn't be able to find them otherwise. Like I can't find, you know, uh weird videos of people modifying their cars to an incredible extent. I mean, I could probably go to a car show, but there's
Right.
some very specific things that like I can't find anywhere else, you know? And I just think that's a wonderful thing to be a part of. I'm glad to be born right now so I could experience all this passion, a catalog of it, decorated entirely for me. I could look at it and I can find it and I could, you know, I've gotten into new things because of it, you know?
Yeah, I think we all have. And that's a great thing.
I think it's one of the best things. I love it. I'd definitely not be the same person without it.
Aside from all the, well, let's not even go into the negatives.
Yeah.
We all know them. We've all heard them from the people who seem to care.
From the people.
From the people who seem to care to a different proportion than they actually engage with the activity.
Yeah.
Looking at you, boomers.
Not to mention them, but listen up, boomers.
Like, wow, you seem
guys,
to care an awful lot about the internet for people who go on it maybe once a day for 30 minutes.
I think I made this circle too small. Oh crap.
I like I think the fact that internet memes became a flipping thing is one of the funniest things. We just decided to all make jokes. I like seeing the development of them.
Dude, internet memes change the way we think. What we think is just funny.
That's true.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like the things I think are funny today, I just even like it's not even just people who are older than me don't get it. Even like I look back at like what like my younger self would think, and I wouldn't get it either. Like it's so obscure.
Avant-garde almost.
Yeah, just the style of humor that we live in today, like this generation, it's so obscure that only we get it.
I'm excited for
But
what the
I
next
also think
generation
that's
is.
cool. Yeah, but I also think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like we live in a type of, like, you look back at like all these memes of like, oh well this is like boomer humor and this is like millennial humor. And it's like our generation understands it. We just don't think it's as funny because it's almost like kind of off-brand slapstick. Like it's more stupid than it is funny. And it almost has a too much sense of literalism.
Could we call it a degradation of humor, though?
It depends on your point of view. I mean,
Well, because like from our perspective, like things are getting funnier the more obscure they're becoming. Like, you can like we're playing Minecraft, bro. We literally name tagged a pigman text, and we just think that's hilarious.
funniest thing we've seen all day. Yeah.
It's the funniest thing we've seen. Text senior. That's hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
It's so stupid and obscure and so simple, but it's so funny.
But what implications is this morphology of our humor have for other aspects of life?
Art. It's like waves of art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, so now
Like
everything,
neoclassical.
so you're saying like everything we find
Humor.
funny is like a Picasso now? We only find Picasso funny?
Hey,
I bet plenty of people
have you
find
seen
Picasso
his art,
funny.
bro? Have you seen his art, man? Look at his art, dude.
But like what I mean by that is like it's like waves of expression, of human expression. It's just another wave of it. Not
Oh,
to
true.
degrade it in any ways, but it's just like a natural metamorphosis of the times. Now why has it become so avant-garde? I can't really say. Like why do I laugh at the letter H sometimes? You know? I don't know. But it just is. It just be, you know?
It's
Like,
just,
we look-
it's
I
just
hadn't
funny.
looked at it that way, but yeah, that makes more sense.
I hope you laugh at the letter H now, just like I do.
No, dude, I just laughed just because you just said that. Like, laugh the letter H.
It's like a just absurdity, you know?
Absurdists.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what we are. We're absurdists.
but it's
We
obviously not,
are new breed.
it's not intrinsic to everyone. Not everyone. I have some friends whose humor I like. Like when I send people memes, I kind of have like an algorithm for it.
Oh, yeah.
I try to tailor it off of their sense of
Algorithm,
humor.
I like that.
Yeah.
We send different things to different people. Most definitely.
So
Oh yeah, and it's not even that's not yeah, oh yeah. Like I'll send Kenny like the dumbest things, like just ambiance, with just a weird video or just this stupid simple like impact font thing, or I'll send William like these I don't even know how I would describe what I send William. Anything monkey.
one thing I like though is that as much as we've changed, I'll stay the same. Like I'll get occasionally just something 1920s clippet of a newspaper, and I'm like, man, that's pretty funny actually. Like or like one of my favorite sites on the internet. I don't know if it's still up. Was this Pompeii graffiti stuff? Funniest stuff like that I've read in a long time because it showed how humans and culture has not shifted that much over the course of like 2,000 years. There's still people being weird, still people bragging and being jerks, you know. There some really like just intricate and funny stuff. Like for some reason, people just really like taking dumps in Pompeii, like public dumps. You know, just drop a fat one near someone's restaurant, and there'd be graffiti right on above of it. Like, hey, stop crapping here, pal. Like, please. And there's
Hey,
so
you
much of
gotta
it.
stop
Like,
crapping here.
and there's so much of it. And just funny. Like humans are always weird. There always be weird people, you know? And I like that. Weird is good, in my
Luckily,
opinion.
certain things have remained funny throughout
Yeah.
the
Like-
ages. Like copulation
what?
and bodily functions. Those are
Yeah.
all funny.
You said, aha. Wait. I still think that's like bodily functions. Like that's like a very select people, like even throughout generations. But it's like it doesn't always ring with everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that has to do with like human differences and stuff. But, you know, for the most part, I don't think without civilization, we wouldn't have had humor. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to refute my own point right there. I think even without civilization, we would still have humor. Like if you and your Australopithecus cousin, you know, we're walking and he stubs his toe and he makes like a really funny noise, you still laugh your butt off. You know?
Back, fellas.
We're
Good evening.
talking about good evening.
Humor.
We're talking about humor.
Oh,
Just the
See, I don't
concept
know if
of it.
that's true. Can you have humor? Did they have humor before they had a language? Funny.
I think
Yeah.
yeah.
What makes something funny then to an Australopithecus?
noise.
Obviously H. Obviously the letter H isn't funny to
Noise.
him.
Oh, I think it would be H.
But why does laughter exist?
Yeah,
That's a-
they
that's-
said
that's-
gorillas laugh. Gorillas laugh when they get tickled. I mean, external circumstances I don't think make gorillas laugh. But physical tickling
Banana.
they will do the kind of thing, and they call that laughter. And I don't believe that's not true.
I don't know
think that is probably
biologically.
their laughter.
I don't know biologically. If
William
someone
does
wants
that
to
so
look it
well.
up right now, actually, I don't
why
know
laughter
what the.
exists?
Yeah, well, like what is the biological reason for laughter? Like what triggers when something is funny?
According to Wikipedia, laughter might be thought of as an audible expression of appearance, or appearance of excitement and inward feeling of joy and happiness. It may ensue from jokes, tickling, and other stimuli unrelated to psychological state, such as nitrous oxide. So, yeah, it's like, man,
So why the hell do we laugh when certain parts of our bodies are touched?
That's very weird, isn't it?
It's not even that. It's when it's like, but it's different for other people. Like, it's not even universal. It's like not everyone is, you know, would laugh when somebody tickles their armpit. You know, it's like
Or some people aren't
that
ticklish
also
at all.
changes.
I wonder if there's a
You
correlation
know,
Yeah.
between
some
the
people don't
ticklishness
laugh.
of people and like. I wonder if less happy people are generally less ticklish.
That would be
Huh.
interesting.
that would be
Well,
interesting.
there's a quote. There's a quote, and this is gonna be mind blowing. There's a quote that Robin Williams made that comedians try so hard to make other people laugh and to make other people feel happy because they themselves know what it's like to be like at rock bottom. Like
Mhm.
and I've heard a lot of other comedians say that comedy comes from an absolutely dark place. So I don't think that, when it's that you're sad that, you just don't have a sense of humor or something, or like when you're depressed, it's like you don't have a sense of humor. It's just like once people move over that, they're gonna be like one of the funniest people, like, like it's just that they haven't found a way to turn that kind of pain and sadness into like happiness.
I've actually I forget where I've heard it from, but I've actually heard comedy. Um, it was just a phrase that comedy comes from misery. Or misery is comedy. Um, and I believe that's true. Like slapstick, the misery comes from getting hurt. That's the whole thing. Like, and because it's birthed from that, I guess you could call it darkness. It intentionally just builds you up. Like, and that kind of links into other things like satire and different types of humor. But it's interesting. Like, I could see that, like, comedy coming from a dark place, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I just think it's weird, you know.
I don't think you could say that everything that's funny comes from a dark place.
No,
No, I
but
wouldn't think so either. I just think it's
I
like
think
a specific type of thing.
I think what Robin Williams was saying is that, like, how like a lot of people say that they use humor as a self-defense mechanism. Um it's to kind of also like shadow their own pain, but in doing so make other people happy.
Yeah. Um, I think that like delves into a thing about trying to please people. Um, especially since humans are often in so need of human contact and acceptance. It's part of our intrinsic nature, as you can see, you know, why so many things are happening. Well, we're so isolated right now, but comedy being one of the things that brings people together, it's easy to see why someone who feels so alone would bring it, would use it as a defense mechanism to help not only bring others up, but most importantly to try and bring themselves up. You know.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think like uh if I may change the subject, but keep it in a
Absolutely.
similar if I may keep it in a similar vein of human feelings, one of my favorite things to think about is fear and how it keeps us alive, and I love it. I don't actually like being afraid, but I like thinking about fear. Because We have like stuff that makes us scary. Like we have horror movies for a reason. Same reason we have comedy movies. We want to laugh. But why would we have fear? Why would we want to feel afraid? Why would we want to be, feel that sense of danger,
Adrenaline is a good and weird drug.
Yeah, adrenaline's flipping weird. That might be one reason to have that.
It makes you feel good. It does. It's like you just get this whole overwhelming sense of like energy, and you're just like, ooh, I need some more of that. That's where we get adrenaline junkies.
Even when it's like, even when you're terrified, do you think that's the reason why we have that type of thing? Like just adrenaline?
Circle, are you joking?
Because I mean, it's not like it's not, we haven't had horror movies for ages. We only had horror movies as long as we could, have them. As long as we had film. I guess we've had horror stories before that, like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, or I guess you call that more science fiction. But I don't know. There's something that I think appeals to humans in fear. Like, why would we have it? Why would we want to feel scared? It's danger. To our reptile brain, what causes fear is what can kill us, what can harm us, what can make us feel pain. But we have other stuff that isn't intrinsically, tied to our reptile brains. We have stuff like Alien. I'm not sure that's the best example, but it's still not real. But we still feel scared by it. And
Well, it's
I
because it's
think
gonna
in
be
a
unknown.
oh, sorry, I don't want to. I think that in a sense, it's like we weren't built for a lot of what we analyze now of what happens to our brain. It's like, I mean, first of all, like we don't even know why we're built, but we're not. Our human brains aren't like it didn't come up with these things. It's stuff that we made as a society, and it's like what makes us afraid is like primal things. So it's like hard to kind of analyze it as we're like, but our primal brains aren't like afraid of aliens, Like our original ancestors weren't like, oh my god, I'm terrified of the clown from It, It's like it's like
ancient cave
I
paintings of
think in a
Pennywise.
way it's interesting because you're like our brains weren't built for this. So it's like, what are we afraid of? And why are we afraid of these things when in reality our brains are built for a primal level of fight or flight? Watching a scary movie, you're not in any actual danger, but what's the reason why we're scared of that? Like, it's not real. There's a
Mhm.
lot of situations that aren't real that our brain is like, oh, let me be afraid right now. Like, you're scared. Even in social situations, you're not in imminent danger. But there's another thing, it's this want. There's so many intricacies to it. It's like the want to fit in, the want to be a part of a society, and it's like, how does growing up in this society affect what we think of as fear versus like what the original intent of fear was, if there was any, because you think about the formation of the human brain and all that, but because you're like, you know, how did we evolve to like fear the things we do?
Well, let's analyze like maybe in aliens. Let's analyze what exactly we are scared of.
Mhm.
So let's start off with well, obviously the creature. That's the scary part. Well, it's scary because it's dark a lot of the time in the movie. Like, and there's threats lurking in the dark during a lot of the movie, and a lot of the time there are. So the dark. You have the alien, which we know can kill you. I mean, if we were in their shoes, it could kill us, and it does so in exceedingly gruesome ways, which kind of triggers our innate fear of like the odd, like the odd ways in which it kills you, like the things coming out of your stomach, etc. It looks really freaky, so that's kind of fear of the unknown. it also has like claws and everything. It looks like a predator. And not
Mhm.
affiliated with the franchise, just like a predator in general. Yeah.
Well, you have like innate fear. Because fear kept us alive. That's why we exist today, what we're talking right now. Because it kept our ancestors alive. We had the innate fear of predators and heights and other type of things.
Exactly.
I think what makes horror so effective is that we play on those things. We shit them in different ways, but we play on that. And then we also play on our ideals as a society. Like isolation of death and destruction. Well, now I'm going into innate fear again. But I guess of moral degeneracy. And I've learned like we have like learned fear and stuff like that. But what I'd like to see more of in horror is like innate fear. I mean, obviously, like I don't think it'd be as scary to like know that there's a to like watch a horror movie where a guy gets chased by a tiger. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But
I mean,
I like
what do you mean by innate fear? Aren't all these things already innate?
I mean, oh, I guess if you boiled it down, everything could be innate. But like, there's like I guess you could say derived fear, uh, based off our technological or societal position at the time. Like, we have the fear of the nuclear bomb, which you could say is both innate and derived. A nuclear bomb is not an animal. It's not like uh, a living thing that is going to come and hunt you down personally and is relentless to it. But it's still the innate fear of death. Um, and I guess you could tack onto that.
Well, I think what makes a nuclear bomb scarier than like a grenade is the radiation part of it. Like,
I guess so.
and that's only because you have knowledge of what radiation does. So that's kind of a derived.
I feel like a lot of people don't, though. And maybe people that do have fear of it, like, don't know of that effect. And maybe that's a big assumption, but I feel like maybe the common person wouldn't be thinking about, like, maybe somebody who just maybe doesn't know a lot about it or just hasn't thought a lot about it isn't going to be like, whoa, the radiological after effects of this nuclear crisis are indeed the scariest part of this, massive bomb going off. I feel like maybe the destruction initially is what, is the worst for a lot of people. But then again, that's maybe an assumption.
Oh,
No,
I'm
yeah,
dead.
yeah, you might have a point there.
You're gonna say Zach?
I don't know, I just died.
He died.
His innate fear wasn't working to prevent him from dying.
Honestly. Well,
I like when fear creates art. That sounds like a very weird thing, and I feel like I'm gonna get put on an FBI watch list for saying that. But I find
it's quite
I think
possible.
fear creates some great flipping art sometimes. Like when you look at Goya's black paintings, I'm thinking like, man,
Man, I wish I was
could
like
feel
him.
that. Yeah, I sure wish I was like, no. I just think like, oh, look at that. Look at that. I could feel that. I could feel the absolute like fear in that, I could feel the intensity in that. The the absolute feel. I love that. I love that ability to create feelings from art. I guess is what the point I'm getting at. I love that. I live for that, when I look at, I don't know, Zeus eating his, or no, it's Kronos. Yeah, devouring his, no, it's Saturn. Okay, Saturn devouring his son. That's his name. Like,
All right.
I can
Kronos
feel
is
that.
Saturn.
All right. Okay.
Kronos
I
is
can-
Okay.
Saturn.
All right. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
look at that.
Yeah, but I could feel it. I could feel it in his eyes. I could feel it in the whole passion of the moment. We have photography for things like that.
What?
Photography is great at
to
capturing.
photograph
No, no, no,
perverting
no,
little
no,
children?
no, not the no. You're misconstruing my words. I mean, photography captures a moment in its pure realism at that time. It can be distorted, of course, but photography is good as capturing. And I like when paintings do that, when they could capture something so intrinsic, so visceral. Maybe not intrinsic, but so visceral that you probably wouldn't experience elsewhere. Obviously, you're not going to experience what it's like to devour your own son as a 1,000,000-foot tall god.
We shall hope
But,
so.
like-
We shall hope not. We should hope that that would never.
He said,
But
"Let me
nonetheless,
tell you,
continue.
boy, do I got a story
You
for
could-
you."
But you could feel the crazed look. You could feel it. And I love that. I love the viscerality of it. That's what I like. And I live for art and stuff like that. And I just, I eat that shit up, bro. I eat it.
like
gotta love
Chronos,
Gavin.
I eat it up.
See, for me, the reason I like photographs and photography is the aesthetic.
Mhm.
Aesthetics of certain scenes. Like, I don't really care that much for the aspect of photography that captures moments of people. Like, I just like the aesthetic art part of it.
Oh, you're one of
Like
those people
lining
that's
up a
only
lining up a
like
good
those.
leaf, making a leaf look real good.
I feel like
You're
for
one
me
of
it is
those people
those.
that's not in it for the moment.
I feel like it is those moments for me, probably, especially
that's
historical photography. Like just moments where you're like, wow, this one image says 1,000 words. You know, just like whatever your high school English teacher said. But
Mhm.
in reality, it's like, I don't know. For me, it's that. It's one picture does say 1,000 words, and it's like sometimes you'll see, like, especially, you know, today being Martin Luther King Jr. Day, it's like, especially photographs during the civil rights era, it's like you look at a lot of those and you're like, wow, this says a lot without saying anything at all. Especially like, I'm thinking of a specific moment, like oh god, I forgot what her name was, but it's some kid, you know, some little girl going to a previously all-white school, being like yelled at, and signs and protesters, and being escorted by the National Guard into like her elementary school, you know.
Mhm.
And I'm like, when I see a picture like that, it's just like, there's so much that this is saying, especially in like the mom's face and just the faces of the angry white people on the on the sides. It's just like you could pick apart this, and this is a moment in history, and it's like it's showing that, and I think it's fascinating, and it's like it doesn't have to say anything, basically.
I like that. It's a very good description.
Yeah, man. Amen.
Yeah, man.
Amen.
Yeah.
Can we get an amen?
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
But
yeah, man.
Can we get an amen?
This is so random and totally not related to anything at all.
Go for it.
So I was talking to my manager Donnell the other day because he was throwing some stuff at me. Not like in a hold on. let me start over.
okay, all right.
He
Human
wouldn't leave
rights
me alone.
complaint.
He wouldn't
Yeah.
leave you alone. This is
He wouldn't
sounding
leave me
worse and
alone.
worse.
This is,
Zach.
I don't know. This isn't sounding great. No, continue.
Okay, so he was throwing, like some liquor caps at me, to go put away, and I was like, "This is crazy." Like, I don't know how often like you think about this. It's amazing just how much the human reflexes develop over time. Like, where somebody can throw an object and you just like know what that object's direction is going to be and the path it's going to take to get to you and like the time it's going to, like, you don't think about it, but like subconsciously you just know these things, like this is how I'm going to catch it at this time in this place. Like, I just think that's crazy.
Well, it's just trajectory calculations, and your brain
All right.